Thank you so much for attending this talk. I'm Kishore. I'm a data scientist from Northeastern University. I study how the Web3 technology affects and transforms, shapes the different facets of society. So in this talk, I'll be focusing on crypto art and NFT platforms in specific, trying to understand the networks in the space and what sort of network effects affect the recognition, success, and reputation of individual artists. So we have heard some of these points earlier this day as well. So what you have is, as an artist, if you're trying to get recognition in the space, you need to go through curators and galleries. And what this essentially creates is an information asymmetry, where if you're a collector, you don't have direct access to the artist. And this is what they call as gatekeepers in society. So what also happens is the transaction of an art is also hidden, and it's opaque. So we heard this term earlier today as well, the idea of transactability of blockchain. So we are able to understand who is purchasing your art and try to reinforce the artist-collector ties in this community. So now from a data-driven perspective, what this all affects is we have access to all these open data sets that we can now truly understand what are the underlying mechanisms that govern the art ecosystem. Okay, so in this particular work, I'm focusing on the Foundation Marketplace, which was launched in February of 2021, and then in this data set, I study the first 4 months of the platform. So if you look at the 4 different metrics of adoption, number of art, number of collectors, and number of sales, they follow the similar curves of first you have this initial boom, and then you have this decline in interest. And these plots may seem familiar to what you might have heard yesterday at the keynote, where you have the stabilization of the marketplace itself. And what is more interesting here is that if you're an early adopter in this place, you tend to have a higher rate of selling your artwork and higher earnings than people who join later. So once the platform is stabilized throughout the time, you can then measure what are the different parameters that led to successful artists. So in this particular scenario, you can compare Foundation as a marketplace has its own set of curators and collectors who buy an artwork, and then you have those follower communities and also on the Twitter. So what we see here is that building a strong community that is specific platform is much more meaningful than going into a marketplace like Twitter, where the follower base might be more spread out. So what you see here is that marketing at a platform level is very important if you're trying to be a successful artist. So now, this is specific to the Foundation Marketplace, wherein if you're an artist, you need to be invited by another artist to join the platform. So what you see here is the emergence of these artist communities, where each node is an artist, and a link signifies an invitation to join the platform. So what you have here is the top 50 clusters. The nodes are sized based on number of works sold. And at an elemental level, what this signifies is this informal social network of artists. And this is also synonymous to what we heard from the MasterCard people yesterday about creating this artist-mentor community. And this is a way to represent who the artists are and how they're connected to other artists in the space. So now, what is the meaning of these networks? So what you see here is that if you're part of this community and if you're able to get mentorship from a successful artist, that highly increases your chance of being successful as well. So then what we can also understand is what is the role of these collector ties in creating a sustained artistic career. And what you see here is that across these group of artists, the 3 groups emerge, that wherein if you're able to build your collector base in an organic way, you're able to maintain your reputation in this art space. And this is called what they call as a sustained recognition due to your collector communities. So from a network perspective, what you can do is build this sort of tripartite network where a collector purchases an art which belongs to a particular artist. So if you build the projections of these networks, what you can see is how important are these network effects. The location of an artist in this artistic work is much more valuable and create a higher rate of growth and success in this community. So a lot of these points, I quickly ran through them, but they were very nicely summarized by friends at ArtNet News, where you can basically bullet point as 5 ways to become successful in NFT marketplaces. And what these also sort of hint at is building this community of artists and collectors is very important to create a thriving community. So that is basically my talk, and a lot of these results were published recently at a journal, and I urge you all to look into it, and there's much more insights into that than what I was able to present today. And this is my Twitter, and feel free to find me and see how some of these tools and techniques can be applied to your platform, your marketplace. Thank you.